Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things have happened in the past few weeks when it comes to Europa Universalis 5, and I would like to talk about some of these things. I've been seeing some people asking in the comment section about the AI in particular, and I've seen some people referencing some shorts where there's a time lapse of the entirety of the game. So we want to talk about that, how the game performs 1337 to 1836, and how the AI does in that particular time frame, as well as afterwards we're going to go through some of the dev diaries because there's a lot of interesting stuff. I think this might be my last actual EU5 dedicated talk video, so I would appreciate it if you guys paid attention because I'm going to say something that might be a little bit interesting for some of you guys, and the reason is likely might be the last, might be another one, let's see, but I'm not sure. It's because I've been really crunching it the last few weeks, playing about 20 hours a day EU5. I'm not even exaggerating, so I don't have time for much else. I'm literally just playing the game and then editing on one screen, continuing to play the game on the other. It's yeah, I'm trying my best to get at least one video out per day in November once I'm allowed to show you guys footage after the 2nd of November. So I've got a backlog of Vicky 3 videos and a few other videos that you guys are gonna see in the next few days, not to worry. But before we go through the actual dev diaries and Tinto talks on the forums and everything, let's talk about the whole situation with EU5, how the game is right now, what situation actually the game is in right now from every perspective. And I want you guys to take note that this is just my perspective on the game from the hours that I've played. I don't have that many hours. Few hundred hours is not a lot, and the game changes massively from patch to patch. That is something that you guys need to put into perspective. It really changes massively from patch to patch, okay? And I'm gonna give you examples of some of the things that happen between patch to patch so you guys understand better how the development process works from my eyes, from what I see, right? Because I don't see everything that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just gonna explain to you guys the information that I have available and that I am allowed to share with you. Now, before we begin, the game is literally around the corner, so if you have any plans of buying the game, consider using my link in the description or comment section below. I get a commission on every purchase, and I really would appreciate it. This is literally one of the main sources of income for me and my family, and it allows me to keep on doing what I love doing, which is content for you guys. And also thank you so much for watching my content. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. The way that this works, by the way, is you need to make sure you have creator referral activated with my link, so then I get the commission. But more importantly, you get a Steam key when the game comes out. Okay, so now that I've absolutely convinced you guys to get the game using my link, totally convinced you, I know, I'm aware of it, I'm gonna start by talking about performance, because previously I was, and I'm sorry for having more of a talking head sort of video today, I want to convey a message. This also might be a little bit of a shorter video, but I just want to give a straight point. I don't want to bullshit you guys. I respect you and I appreciate you way too much for that, okay? Performance in the current patch, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Before I talk about the current patch, you need to know that in the past week, there's been 3 patches, and there's likely going to be more patches before we actually have the release version. I don't know. I'm just assuming. We have not been announced of other patches. I'm just making an educated guess here. But the reason I mentioned there's been 3 patches is because between the 3 patches, performance has been wildly different. The version of the game that I played 3 patches ago, performance was really good. I'm talking, I could go all the way to 1836 without stutters, without many crashes. I still had some crashes. It was really good. I would have given that one a 9 out of 10. And then another patch came, and that patch was the patch that we were the patch that we did. I did start recording my videos in that patch. That was the patch we were allowed to record videos in, and it was bad. It was really bad. Performance wise, at least, it did not do good. A lot of crashes, and I remember I was clicking the achievements button and it would crash the game. Just clicking the achievements button. I would have given that one a 4 out of 10. It was just really bad. But really quickly afterwards, they made another patch that fixed most of the issues. So the current patch, 7.5 out of 10. Way better than the previous one. And I'm telling you this so you get an idea of how different patch to patch can be in the internal versions, but also to make you understand that the team is really on point. They're really quickly with implementing changes. They know what they're doing. They're very professional. And speaking of the team, they strike me as basically a family. Like, they do this not as a job, but as a passion project. They really love EU5, and I mean that with every sense of the word. They love the game, and they want to see the game do good just as much as creators want to see the game do good. It's just as much as you guys want to see the game do good. So they're working really overtime to make this the best game that's ever been out. And my opinion right now is that in the current stage for EU5, this is by far the best release that we're gonna have out of any Paradox game. In my personal opinion, I do think it's gonna be a better release than any other game they've had in recent years. And I'm saying this because the base game has everything already. And I really mean it has absolutely everything. The systems are in place, they're working. Sure, they might need some tweaking, that's for sure. In certain regards, they need tweaking, and that's why myself and a lot, and I mean a lot of other content creators were working to give the feedback, and a massive amount of QA team, even before we started, was doing the exact same thing, right? So yeah, it needs some tweaks. It definitely needs some tweaks, but I don't want you guys to be disheartened by this, because worst case scenario, and again, this is worst case scenario, what could happen is, say, oh, the game gets released and the AI doesn't perform that good, or there's some performance issues. I'm sure that that's going to be fixed fairly soon, but considering the rate at which they're fixing, I'm pretty sure they're going to have those things down by the time that we get the game out. At least I'm hopeful that that's going to happen. Now, to give some concrete examples, I had a situation a few days ago where I was playing as Byzantium, and I realized that one of the government reforms was really not viable because it gave very small bonuses, and it cost 5% cost of court, which in the mid to late game, that 5% literally translates into hundreds of ducats. So it's not viable to go for that government reform just for like 0 point something legitimacy. So I did say you guys should make this at least maximum 2% cost of court, and they acted upon it instantly. So they changed it. It's 2% cost of court, which makes it a lot more choosable as a government reform, right? So that's an interesting little thing that they consulted with the team. They probably checked with other people that had the same opinion as me, I would imagine, and decided it's a good idea to make it 2%. That being said, there are a lot of issues still in the current patch. One of them that affects me personally is the fact that Brandenburg is not really playable. And what do I mean by not really playable is the fact that they start with the debuff, the Wittelsbach Neglect, which gives them maximum control in provinces minus 20%, and at the start of the campaign they roughly have about 20 to 30% control maximum. So if you take into account the satisfaction debuff and the control debuff unique to Brandenburg, you've got 0 control in like 90% of your provinces. And what that means is you get no money, no levies, no nothing. It's as if you don't have those provinces. It's as if you're a one location nation pretty much, right? So getting rid of that, there is some events that were not scripted before. In the meanwhile, because we gave feedback, they really quickly worked upon it, so they fixed it. So now the scripting is done for Brandenburg, and because of that, you can actually play as Brandenburg and have a way of getting rid of the minus 20 max control of Wittelsbach Neglect by getting rid of the Wittelsbach via events that can trigger. So there's that option, but it still is very slow to get rid of it. And by the time that you do get rid of it, another mechanic comes into play in the 1400s, which is the Robber Baron. The Robber Barons, again, it's really brutal because it takes about 2 years to get rid of the Robber Barons, and they will spawn continuously for 90 years. I think the script says around the 1500s that they stop spawning. So that means 1 out of 2 cabinet members is going to be busy with getting rid of the Robber Barons. The current debuff for the Robber Barons is, again, they lower the maximum control. So, in essence, for 200 years, Brandenburg has no control. Without control, you're dead, because not to mention nations like Bohemia and Poland are next to you, which are extremely strong nations, and I mean extremely strong. So you're going to be like literally the easiest target imaginable for them. But aside from that, little one location nations, OLNs, I guess that's a new term now, they will be stronger than you eventually, and they will be able to wipe you out in the 1400s. Yeah, so I feel like this particular debuff is a bit too brutal because it just makes the game not only unfun, just unplayable in my opinion. They're aware of this. They did say for the release patch that this is going to be changed. They did mention how they are considering replacing the -20 max control with something else, and I'm curious what it is. But at the current stage, that it's a boo-boo. What you should take from that is that they are working on fixing it and taking into account what feedback they're getting so they can make the game better. Next topic is the AI, how the countries behave throughout the campaign. All right, so I had quite a few games already. I'm not gonna talk much about the previous games because, truth be told, I don't think I've ever seen the AI form another nation in previous patches, like once. But it has changed in the most recent patch. It does a lot better, especially the Ottomans expand quite a little bit more. I don't know, so this is a very uninformed opinion. Keep that in mind. This is just my opinion from the games I've played. I kind of suspect that they might dial up the AI in a future patch because now they've got just so many small little issues here and there everywhere that they really need to fix before release, that I would imagine them cranking up the AI to 11 maybe is not the ultimate problem for them right now. The issue that I mentioned with Brandenburg plagues a lot of nations. So a clear example of that is Japan. Japan is unplayable in the sense that it's too powerful, and I mean that in every sense of the word. So there's certain buildings in Japan that you build that you get 0.5 ducats and that give you trade capacity. So if you're an army-based country, right, or a building-based country, better yet, which is the daimyos, you don't own land directly, but you will eventually own land in Japan once the Civil War triggers in the 1400s, the Sengoku Jidai triggers. Until the Sengoku Jidai triggers, you basically just spam a couple of buildings all over Japan continuously. That's all you do. And these buildings are so powerful that you end up with like 200 profit in ducats in like 30 years. To put things into perspective, it took me until the 1450s to get 200 in profit as actual countries, European countries. Maybe it was a skill issue, I don't know, but I feel like that's a little bit too powerful, the daimyos right now. So what happens because of it is when the Sengoku Jidai triggers, they are so powerful that they easily win the Sengoku Jidai, and they end up with a lot of the provinces from the get-go because of before the Sengoku Jidai, the mechanics that you have allows you to wipe out other daimyos very easily. I'm sure that's going to be fixed before release though, because they are aware of it, but that's just one example, right? Another one that they already fixed was that the Moldova was not playable. I gave a lot of feedback on that. So what happened was they made the subjects tributaries and they fixed the event that triggered the unified Moldova. So as consequence, now you actually can play as Moldova. Since we also talked about building based countries, let's talk about the banks and the Hanseatic League, right? So Hanseatic League, also insanely overpowered. You start with some unique buildings, the Hanseatic contour, and you have government reforms that give you 50% extra trade income plus whatever crown power you might have. So you might end up with like 90% trade income from day one. And I mean day one. I mean like a couple of months after the game starts. So I remember I just unpaused. I didn't click anything, literally did not click anything. And I went from 50 ducats profit after unpausing to 300 ducats profit without doing a single thing 10 years into the campaign. That's crazy. And that was simply from the scaling of the profits from trade. Not complaining about it. It makes playing as a trade nation, as a building-based trade nation, really fun. It really does. But I never saw that income when I did my Brandenburg campaign. I was in the 1500s. I owned half of Germany and I didn't see that income. Sure, could have also been because Brandenburg's got some really bad flavor. But at the same time, it's crazy. It's crazy, right? I don't think that's balanced. The same situation with the banks. You basically just spam banks and you grab loans from wherever you can, and by grabbing those loans you make money off of the interest on the loans. And here's the kicker, it's really hard to kill a building based nation. It's really hard. If they spam their buildings around everywhere, it's literally impossible. If anything, like maybe in the late game it's a little bit easier. Then there's the whole idea of you get bored. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, you make a lot of money, that's true, it's a fun different type of play style, but like you get bored because you don't own land directly, so you don't see your map color everywhere. It's kind of like a cool little ideal thing to be doing in a multiplayer, if anything else. But an actual gameplay with those nations, it's gonna be a very short gameplay in my opinion. You're probably gonna finish by the 1500s, because I don't know. I mean, I guess you could make the end game for you trying to become an actual nation. That could be something, but then you'd be so overpowered because by the time you become an actual nation, you literally will have millions in your bank account. So what are you gonna do then? I don't know. It's just the game does need a lot of tweaking and balancing right now, that's for sure. But I am hopeful that that's gonna be done before release, because I'm seeing how quickly the team acts upon feedback. And now, before we go with the Tinto talks and everything else, I want you guys to not be worried about this. I'm sure that the AI is gonna be a lot better before release. I'm slightly worried about the whole AI not forming nations and everything as well, just like you guys are, obviously, and not expanding as much as it should be expanding. But I'm gonna do you guys a favor. I didn't expect to make another video like this, but I will do another video like 2-3 days before release, because I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm kind of getting the vibe that we might get a patch then, and I'll play with that patch to see how the AI does, because I don't want to give a verdict straight up on this now when it might not be even remotely close to whatever version you guys are going to be playing. And because of that, I'll make another video dedicated exactly to this. Let me know if you guys want me to do that actually, or if I'm just wasting my time here. Hope not though. Not gonna sugarcoat it. Also, in the current patch, the AI doesn't perform that well when it comes to tax base and manpower. So in most cases, it relies on levies until very late game. It does have professional armies sooner than I have. Usually the AI creates a professional army a lot earlier than I do, but it just doesn't go up to the scale that I normally would. But that's only because I go over the force limit. I go over the force limit a lot. Example, in 1610 as Byzantium, I've got 160,000 soldiers, and my expected size, it's not force limit, it's called an expected army size, is 38,000. So I'm about 5 times over the expected size, because I've got an insane economy. I've got 8,000 tax base, and I can afford that. But for example, France, which has 24 million population, I have 12 million. So France have twice the population that I've got. They only have 4,000 tax base, and because of 4,000 tax base, they cannot afford to go over their force limit. I imagine maybe they have they're hard coded to not go over the expected force limit. I don't know. They only have 36,000 standing army right now, which is, I believe, around a little bit less than their expected army size. Ships, they build a lot. I've noticed that they build a lot, and the AI is extremely qualified when it comes to fighting. So I'll give them this, because this is really important. You guys should know, when it comes to fighting, I get my ass handed quite a lot. So against the Mamluks have beaten my ass a few times in my campaign. I had to concede stuff just so I could get out of the war, so I don't become an embarrassment to you guys. I had wars where I lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers, and I needed to end it up with either a white piece or just grabbed a few locations or whatever, because I couldn't push any further than that, because the AI was just really good. What I mean by good is they have levies, they use their professional army, and they also hire mercenaries to compensate. They are pretty decent when it comes to tactics. From what I've noticed, they do a lot of fake retreats where they pretend they're retreating to another location and they bait you, and they have another army close by there. That actually happened twice. I don't know if it was just a coincidence though, to be fair. But they do retreat a lot. Once they realize they're gonna lose the battle, they don't stay in the battle, because if they stay, they can lose the whole army. So the moment they realize they're losing the battle, they retreat. So they lose like 1,000, 2,000 soldiers, and most of the army is still intact, and they usually go somewhere else where they can either siege one of your locations. And speaking of, they tend to go for the capital of the provinces, which afterwards means they're gonna automatically get the rest of the locations in the province. So they know that, so they're pretty smart from that perspective. They don't go for random locations unless they don't have a choice, I guess. They also tend to prioritize getting the latest type of military units, so they have really good units almost all the times. In fact, I think in my campaigns they've had better units than me first. So in this one, for example, they've had arquebusiers and so on before I had them. The main issue is, I'd say, they're not as aggressive, so that ends up with a lot of smaller nations consolidating because they don't get wiped out earlier in the campaign. And because of that happening, then it snowballs, because in the later part of the campaign, it's a little bit more difficult to wipe out all these small nations because they're stronger now. So the AI probably thinks, oh, I don't want to have to fight an alliance block of 20 nations just to grab this one location. But in the original patch, that I played it back in April, May, that was not the case. I remember now. In April, May, the AI tended to wipe out these smaller nations early on, which ended up with the AI being a lot more consolidated. So that makes me think that maybe it's just a small tweak they need to do to make the AI more do what the AI was doing before, I guess. I don't know. So that's also why I'm not really worried. I'm actually not worried about AI stuff for the release. That, again, just me, guys. I know I'm gonna have a lot of people debating this and stuff. My conclusion to all this is that I feel like it's gonna be a good launch and most of the issues will be fixed. If there's gonna be anything that's not fixed, likely in the first patch after release, it will be tweaked so that it's a lot better. But I don't want you guys to think that, oh, this is gonna be like a Imperator Rome launch or anything of the sort. It's not. It's far from it. Even if it gets released with the patch from today, without all the changes and all the fixes, it's gonna be 10 times, 20 times better than Imperator, Vicky, and so on. That's for sure. Now let's actually go into all of the development diaries because there's a lot of stuff here. Now, in more recent news as well, we have a confirmation from Riagi that the modding teams have received access to the game as well. So they're obviously working on their own mods for Europa Universalis 5, which means that you can expect a lot of your favorite mods to come out as soon as possible. And we also have some of these mods already shown in the preview in this particular development diary, or I don't even know what to call this, Tinto Talk, I guess you could say, right? How many mods? Apparently Riagi says many, but not all. So most of the popular overhauls, they've had access for some time, which means that you're likely going to be able to access these mods from release, I hope. I don't want to say something I'm not aware of. I'm not part of any modding development team. I would assume that they're going to release it on release. I don't know. One mod that we have here is Anbinar, probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular. I'm not sure actually which is the most popular EU4 mod. I'm curious. Riagi mentions that EU5 modding is different from EU5 compared to other games, so let's go over that. You have to navigate into the mods and DLCs menu in the top right corner and then open the mod tool view by clicking on the sandbox icon next to the selector mod. So yeah, this is basically it. You can create your mod here, John Universalis' Bizarre Adventure, straight path to John Universalis, and then you can show what kind of flavor your particular mod has. Fairly standard to EU4 in my opinion. It's about the same system, just a different interface pretty much. Once you have the mod stub, you can create a playset to which you can assign the mod and test it. So you see here whether the mod is activated or not. You got the little filled up square. You have the option of applying the changes afterwards, and we see here some actual code for all of you code enthusiasts. One example of a mod is the Rise of Ulm, which I'm sure a lot of you are going to be very happy to play, of course. They even made a specific Rise of Ulm situation with the situation breakdown that is not yet scripted obviously here. That's just a generic panel. If you're a modder, you probably already read this development diary, let's face it, because it's extremely juicy. If you're not a modder, then you probably don't care about it in detail as much, so I'm not going to cover it in super high detail. Just going to mention to you guys that some of the development teams have also presented their mods. So for example, Qwerter, which is the team lead for the extended timeline mod, one of my favorite mods actually for Europa Universalis 4, is showing us a first look at the extended timeline, which is going to have 2 years of history from the Roman era. So we see the Roman Empire in all of its glory in these screenshots here. Even the Iranian Empire, actually the color is so similar, that's crazy. I just realized that is a very similar color. Oh my god, I'm kind of super hyped for this one in particular. I might even do a playthrough where you start as the Romans and try and survive like towards the end period, see what kind of disasters they get, because disasters in EU5 can really be extremely brutal. This one here is most likely 1914, before the First World War, around that period in any case. We also have some info from the Imperium Universalis development team, which focuses on ancient history pretty much from antiquity more or less, and we don't have the new world as such. We have pretty much the old world that is illustrated. This right here highlighted is the extent of the old world with the Imperium Universalis mod. Stiopa, Lord Varangian, and Leah also present us their info on Europa Expanded. Apparently it's going to be Europa Expanded 2.0 to be more exact. They show us a little bit of a sneak peek here. The Reconquista, which starts in 722, so you get to experience more flavor in your start date. Obviously this is still for 1337, but it just shows that the Reconquista started in 722 and you still haven't finished it. You have some options for finishing it though, and getting rid of the last foothold of the Granadas and a little bit of Morocco land at the start of the campaign there. there. He mentioned this is very much work in progress, including the UI, so keep that in mind. There is a peace phase, distress phase, and the war phase, the last bastion of Islam fighting against the forces of Christendom. New actions relenting to war become available to both sides. I'm actually really hyped for this too. This looks really fun. And we see here the event itself. Conflict is looming. King Alfonso and Abu al-Hassan Ali. The fact that they already have the localization done kind of gives me the vibe that the mod is basically ready already. There's some unique cabinet flavor too, apparently, as well as some unique laws are available too. The Dutch revolt has been scripted in as a situation as well from you got unrest phase, revolt, and interwar period. You got the United Provinces here as a international organization. Ooh, that's actually interesting. You got some policies for the United Provinces too. Wow. The various members can also vote on various issues of the United Provinces. I'm assuming the last one would be unification of all the United Provinces, right? Actually unifying. There's generic mission packs. This is huge. I'm actually excited to see what Europa Expanded 2.0 does with the mission pack, because there is a lot of potential there. The fact that we have country missions is actually massive. Oh my god, I'm actually really hyped for that now. Oh, this is really, really good. So honestly, not having country missions in the vanilla is a little bit of a letdown for me, but I'm sure that the modding team is going to take full advantage of it. As we see right here, various modding teams are going to take advantage of it, and that's good. I like that. Okay, basically the game creates the platform for mods to thrive, and let's face it, a lot of the EU4 community plays pretty much only with mods nowadays. A big chunk of the EU4 community. It's going to be the same for EU5 for sure. We see a sneak peek at the centralization mission pack showcase. Some options here: reduce your maximum control as well as the unrest, while some of them increase your crown power by 50%. Okay, that's huge. Increase monthly control as well, more crown power. They do mention that unfortunately, despite their motivation, the development team of the mod is still bogged down with the greatest bottleneck of all, our life. So they're not going to be able to finish the content until by release date. Don't despair, guys. I'm sure that eventually it's going to come out. Keep an eye out. Make sure you check their Discord, and I'll post the link to the Discord in the description of this video as well, so you guys can check them out. I'm very hyped for this, and I'm sure you guys are going to be super hyped too. Then Voltaire's Nightmare 3. There's a third nightmare. Oh my god, my computer's barely struggling already. I'm joking, okay? I'm sure that this one's going to be a lot better, since the game pretty much starts with most of the historical HRE tags, right? The development team does mention they want to hold back on any in-game teasers until development has progressed further and we have something spectacular to show. Okay, interesting. We do see here the highlighted area is where they plan to have Voltaire's Nightmare 3. So I'm assuming that you're not going to have the whole world. You're only going to have the HRE, like in Voltaire's Nightmare. Oh, that's going to be crazy. We're going to have like the smallest German town imaginable, Schnitzeldorf. It's going to be on the map. I'm telling you right now. I know they're going to do it. I know it. Oh, I'm wrong about everything, guys. So Europa Universalis 5 has 2,600 square kilometers. Voltaire's Nightmare 3 only has 0.038 square kilometers. Is Voltaire's Nightmare going to be the most performance good mod imaginable? Oh my god. What is this world? Oh no, my bad. So they mentioned that Voltaire's Nightmare 3 will be about the size of a municipality, allowing them to represent the HRE with several thousand individual locations. Oh my freaking god. I knew it! Schnitzeldorf's gonna be on the map, boys. I'm telling you right now. This is a teaser of Bohemia and Moravia. Oh god. Bohemia is going to be even more overpowered. Okay, sure. Speaking of, a little bit of a side note here from the mod itself. In the current build, Bohemia is insanely overpowered. Like, you could have Austria, Poland, Brandenburg, Saxony, Sweden, North Italy fight Bohemia, and Bohemia is likely still going to come on top of that. Might be a little bit of an exaggeration because I haven't tried that, but I'm confident you can still win. They also have a Discord link, and I'm going to put their Discord link in my video as well. Actually, do all the mods, did I not see that? Do all the mods have a Discord link? Because if they do, I'll put, yeah, they do. Okay, so I'll put all the mods that are in this particular development diary. I'll put them all in the description of the video. Make sure you check out the mod. Whether they release it on release date, the mod itself or not, you should be on the Discord, because that way you can more easily find out when it's coming out, right? Now, another mod that is coming out that might not be very familiar to EU4 players, but might be familiar to CK3 players and CK2 better yet, is after After the End. Now, this is a very, very unique mod for sure. The original setting for CK2 is set in 2014 in a medieval experience for post-apocalyptic America. So set in a far future long after mysterious events regress the world society to a medieval level technology. Ooh, that sounds fun, doesn't it? That sounds really, really fun. So this might actually be one of my top mods once it comes out. I definitely will cover this because I'm excited to see how a medieval setting America would be, considering how massive the not just the United States, but the Americas are, right? We have some teasers here, such as the holy site Basilica of Our Lady of Aparecida, which is a Christian holy site. Owner is the Brazilian Empire. So like I said, the Americas, not just North America. We see here a picture of the Kingdom of Quebec. The Kingdom of Quebec, and we see the actual map of North America. We got the Dixie, we got the Ozark, Grangerlander, Heartlander, Texan. Ooh, this is juicy. This is really, really juicy. This obviously is the cultural map mode. And now take a look at the religious map mode. So you got Catholic. The idea is that you have some obvious background that is common with our timeline, but at some point the timeline diverged, and this is what it's like in the mod. We have Gothic over here as a religion, Calvinists, Consumerists, Gaian, Trailwalker, Atomicist, ooh, Mormons, and Guruists. Okay, I'm sold. I'm actually sold. This is definitely going to be a really fun mod. You also see the cultures of South America right now, which is really, really cool too. This is the 1337 start date, so I'm not sure if they're going to change the year or not. I don't know if it makes any difference really, but even in 1337, like as a divergent, maybe the New World was colonized a little bit faster, and this is the result after the collapse or whatever. It's going to be cool as schnitzel, trust me. We see here Patria Grande, the northernest one of the religions, Andean religion, Catholics. There's a lot of Catholics actually, both in North and South America. They too have their Discord, so I'll make sure to link that one too. Next one is New World Improvement Project. We have a few screenshots from this mod too. We got the Viceroyalty of Brazil. Hey, this is huge. This is actually good. I'd like to see Viceroyalty of Brazil over Colony of Shkibidi, because right now the way it works is the colonies take the name of the location they originate from, so you have some really weird colony names. There are some also scripted colony names like New Spain, 13 colonies, all that. That's also in the game also, right? But most of them are not. So like if you colonize as Genoa, you're gonna have a really weird colony name. Republic of America, Republic of Massachusetts, ooh, Colony of New England, Colony of Canada. Okay, that's huge. That's actually, so this looks like a little bit of a passion project here. The developer for this mod is also the developer for the After the End mod, so I'm assuming there's the same Discord between the two of them, I would imagine. Next up is Arcanum, which is created by Minotaur. Hopefully I pronounced that right. My apologies if I butchered it. He's showing us right now his main menu. There might also be an EU4 to EU5 importer, so make sure to join their Discord too. And then we have Paradox Tools, which is a save file analyzer in the browser, and a suite of community tools. This is really going to come in handy, I think, for multiplayer games especially. There's also Paradox Unlimiter, which is a save game manager and toolbox for all grand strategy games, which is also going to support EU5 now. So it has a save game editor, Iron Man converter, automatic save game checkpoint, integration for other community made mods like the Paradox converters, Irony mod manager, which can also be used with Paradox Unlimiter. Interesting. Okay, what on earth is this? Minesweeper. Have you ever been stuck in a 13-year Regency or been in a multiplayer campaign with two random South American native players at speed 1? You'll never be. So he's literally adding Minesweeper in the game. Oh, come on. Really? You get to do something whilst you wait for your colonies to grow in the New World if you go colonial game. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more mods that are going to come, and right now we just see a few of them. Now I just realized that they released a development diary on the Hansa and Switzerland, so that plays into what we're talking about today too. Basically, this is what the Hansa looks like at the release, and you've got in essence Hanseatic contours everywhere, so that gives you a lot of trade capacity. You got some really awesome government reforms. The ones I was saying overall are just ridiculously overpowered. Trade capacity plus 50%, trade income plus 25, and then the Merchant Republic. So this is the Hanseatic Merchant Federation. You have a second reform, which is the Merchant Republic, that gives another 25 trade income and capacity and so on. So unless they nerf one of these two, it is ridiculously powerful. This is the Hanseatic contour, the building I was talking about. You get one trade advantage, trade capacity to owner 0.25, and maritime presence license to owner 2. The shipwright guild, which you can build from day 1, allows you to build ships. It gives you sailors plus 10, which is a late game building equivalent. Like usually late games give you that many sailors from a building, and you get it from the first stage, making the Hanseatic League a ridiculously good trade, not only trade but naval country too. And some nations start as subjects of the Hansa, namely Lübeck, Hamburg, and Bremen, I think, if I remember correctly. And that means that you can actually build in these countries. You can enforce on them your culture if you really wanted to. You start as the only nation with Hanseatic culture, which is a Germanic culture. And the other nations have their own version of their cultures. I forgot what it is now, but you can enforce the Hanseatic. And that means you're going to be able to get Hanseatic in there if you wanted to spread, because right now it's just 16,000 you boys is not many. I like doing that. It makes no difference, but I just like doing it. That's why I mentioned it. You also can build a lot of different other buildings in your subjects, whilst the Hanseatic contour is the main one that you can build, one of the main ones that you can build outside of subjects. So these particular locations, they're not your subjects. Only the 3 here are your subjects. Okay, every other location belongs to another country, which means you're limited by the amount of buildings that you can build there. You also need to have good relations with those nations if you want to be able to build more stuff there as well. The subjects you have also cannot be annexed. Keep that in mind. That's really important too. They increase your trade capacity and give 50% embrace institutions to capital of the overlord, whilst they get some nice juicy bonuses themselves. You get access to the Hanseatic cog, and the Hanseatic cog is a light ship. Very few nations start with light ships from day 1. Normally you have to research light ships after the second age, after you've gotten the advance for it. So getting this from day 1 is a huge deal, because it gives 0.10 maritime presence, and it actually has some decent bonuses, more cannons than regular light ships and so on, I guess. So 100% worth going for this build. So 100% worth going for this. Same, you get some other really awesome tier 1 and 2 advances, such as trade capacity plus 25%, man. This is really broken. I'm sorry, but this is so powerful. You guys, you'll see if they don't nerf this. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is just crazy. Anyway, guys, love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to use my link if you want to get the game for yourself, and take care of yourselves.